Today, I'm here with an OG, an icon, the Lexus LS. The first one they brought over to the States, and they made a huge splash in the luxury full-size sedan market, and just the luxury market, period. But this one is the fifth generation of it. This is a 2024 LS 500H. So that's going to denote that this is a hybrid. So we got a 3.5 liter V6 paired with a couple electronic motors, power in the rear. This is going to be all-wheel drive, and it's going to be weighing in at about 5,100 pounds. So although this is the most expensive LS, this isn't the fastest or most powerful. So that one's going to be the regular LS, which is a great deal cheaper. That starts at about 80,000. This one is going to be 114,000, and this is a 2024 price, and 2025 is up to 116. So this one's going to have 354 horsepower, and it's going to be paired with the CVT. But calm down, CVT, it's not all bad. It's great. It fits really well with this vehicle, and I'm going to explain that later on. The LS is going to be your executive sedan, especially this one right here. We're going to have all kinds of posh, luxurious, just top-of-the-line features in here, and it's going to be so comfortable, such a great highway cruiser as well. And then it has a great size fuel tank, 22 gallons, so you can just sit back and the car will do the driving for you. I'll show you that later on as well. As Lexus's flagship, it has a whole lot to show off. And Lexus, they stayed in their lane with this. A lot of manufacturers kind of went outside of their roots, like Cadillac. They used to be like making this kind of luxury. This is unapologetically luxury. It's not sporty, it does have sport features, but this is a luxury car. Or Cadillac, they kind of went to sporty. BMW went to tech, and Mercedes, but Lexus, this is tried and true luxury, old school luxury too. In today's video, I'm going to give you an engineer's thoughts on this 2024, same as the 2025, Lexus LS 500H. Excuse the salt, it's been nasty outside. The LS did a fantastic job handling all this snow and ice, but you don't even get a chance to recognize this $3,100 paint job on here, which is called Silver Illusion. So it's more like a satin silver. It's very nice. At first glance, I thought it was a little bit bland, but my goodness, when that sun is shining, you just get to see it. The car literally just lowered. So the front fascia is going to be recognizably Lexus. We got the daytime running LEDs. Some say it looks like a Nike or a Newport sign, but it's recognizably Lexus. The big grille, which actually doesn't look that big on the LS because this is a huge car. I honestly think it might look a little bit better if the grille was bigger. I know, crucify me in the comments, but we have a lot of sensors in the front grille, 360-degree camera, and this car can drive itself fully autonomous. I believe it's like level 2 or 3. I'll demonstrate that later on. But coming around to the side, I'm going to have 20-inch wheels. This paint job, Silver Illusion, is like a satin. So it doesn't look like a regular silver, just a little bit different. Let me show you inside of a door sill so you can see what a clean version looks like. There's been a lot of snow and salt. So it's not going to do it justice on film. In person, it's just spectacular. Close the door, but soft touch, because soft touch closing doors. We don't got to slam them. How dare you slam my car? And the vehicle has been on this whole time. This is a hybrid, so it's running off the battery right now. Coming along to the rear, this is a very long car. Not a whole lot going on back here. Got dual exhaust, but they don't have anything in the rear diffuser or fascia to show. Opening the trunk, that's going to be power. Button over here. Trunk goes up. But what I'm going to notice about the trunk is not a lot of space in here, and that's going to be due to the rear seats, which I'll show you in just a minute here. So the rear trunk is kind of compromised on space due to the rear seats, which a lot of people might be sitting in. You might want to get chauffeured in one of these. So this is that type of vehicle. So the EPA is going to rate it at 22 in the city, 29 on the highway. I've been averaging 20 miles per gallon, and I have driven a great deal of highway. So there's that. Maybe it's due to the cold out here. Are hybrids affected like EVs when it's cold outside? Drop a comment, let me know. Now, let's get reacquainted with the rear seat once again. Open these doors. You're going to be greeted by the most plush and posh materials I've seen in any vehicle. Leather is so soft. All the padding in here is soft. The design is nice. Everything is real, nothing fake about it. Design language is lovely in here. I got to do a panel screenshot of this later on. But coming on to the rear, we got these perforated seats, and it's going to be heated, ventilated, and massaging seats in the rear. And we do have 3 seats back here. Some cars compromise the middle space, which you might not want to sit because we have the axle coming through here, but this does lift up as an additional seat. But it's a very narrow seat. Sitting in the rear, gonna hit my head in pretty much anything I get into these days. Soft close my doors. Can hear a mouse tinkle on cotton in here. So in the rear seat, I have tons of leg room, probably about 5-6 inches of knee room in front of me. We have vents in this B pillar. We have vents in the roof, vents in the middle, speakers in the ceiling, speakers in the door, speakers everywhere. We have a 19-speaker Mark Levinson system. We have illuminated mirrors in the front so you can do your makeup, see how you looking. We looking good? We looking all right. And to control all the functions, we have a touch screen in this rear seat. So we can put up our privacy shades. Let me adjust the frame rate so y'all don't see all this blinking like so. But we can put up our shades, our rear shades, our door shades. That's all power. So if you want your privacy, there we have, even behind us. And with the tap of a button, we can let the shades go. In the back seat, you can control many things. The audio has its own climate zones back here, 2 in the rear. You can have heated ventilated seats. We also have our seat controls, which is very nice. So we can control the passenger driver seat. So if you want to move that person forward while you get ready to recline, you can do that all in the screen. And then let's choose our right seat. If you want to lean that boy back, whoops, that's forward. You can recline this rear seat. That's why we don't have trunk space like that. So you can literally just sit back at a very steep incline. So let me set mine that same way. I'm already kind of tilted back. But, oh my goodness. That goes back pretty far. It's probably at like I believe I read 48 degrees. So that's a nice angle. You can take a nap. This car knocked my girls out. They just went to sleep in here. It's a very posh car, and I'll never spend this much time in the rear seat of a vehicle, but this is the place to be. But it's still not as good as the front, so let me let this seat up. And these are memory seats as well. You can remember the seating back here. And we're going to go on up to the front and see what that's like. I never turn the car off. It's just that silent. It's a hybrid. I keep telling y'all that. Lexus got a chokehold on the hybrid game. But just check out the design, the stitching everywhere. This is the highest quality leather I've ever seen. Look how thick that is. And it's everywhere. Like even places that's not a touch point. Everything, I haven't seen a piece of plastic in this car. Everything is leather wrapped. And everything that's leather wrapped is soft and supple. This is over the top and I love it. Everything about it. Even the dash all the way across these seats. And even in the rear seats, the headrest is electronically adjustable. Every seat has the same thing. I don't think the rear has massaging function, but this does. Oh, this doesn't have like a quasi massage where it has like little feelings go through there. No, this has the actual rollers going all up and down the spine and on the bottom as well. And looking at the seating functions, it doesn't have that many functions on the side of the seat. A lot of that has to be done through the menu, which I don't like about it. And then we do have this thigh extension down there, but I'll get more into the seats later. There we go, the car cut on. So the ceiling is going to be a micro suede material. Even this, which has to be one of the downfalls, it's a manual closing sunroof, which a car in this class, I expect a panel roof with the mechanical closing lid. Like I said, this is an old school luxurious car. So what do I mean when I say old school luxurious? First of all, just look at the design from the side of the door all the way across. We even have a leather stitched steering wheel coming on across, real metal gates for the air vents coming on across the dash. Leather wrap, soft and supple. Memory seats for everybody in this car except for that skinny middle seat in the back. Then we have wood grain. Got our cup holders right there. We're going to have a lot of buttons in here. This is what I mean by old school. So with the heated seats, ventilated seats, they're set to auto. You can see that, well, maybe you can't see, but it's illuminated right now to say auto. But if I press it, it turns off. But I want to keep it on auto. Same with the heated steering wheel, 2 levels to that. And this is the back shade in the rear. We can have parking functions in here. The car can park itself, 2 USB-Cs, but the massaging seats, to actuate that, press this seat button, go to massage, pick the driver or passenger, turn that on. I don't like how many buttons I have to go through to get to it, and it lasts for about 15, 20 minutes, but that's where it is, and it feels lovely. I'm gonna let that ride while I have it. We have just physical buttons everywhere, skip track. Then we do have wireless CarPlay, Android Auto. This vehicle is also optioned with a dash cam. That's optional, about $300-400. To get to the drive modes, it's going to be these sticking out of the dash up here. You just flick a stick forward for Sport, Sport Plus, down for our modifiable mode, our custom mode. Normal mode is just in the middle. And then we have our Eco mode if you twist it downward. And on the left side, we have our snow mode and traction control off. I kind of like that. That's different. I haven't seen that before, but it's going to be old school. You can also force it to go into EV mode if you please to. If you're light on the accelerator, it's going to stay in EV mode, or you can just press this EV mode until you get too hard on the accelerator. It's going to go back to combo. So during my week with the LS, I let a 7 Series owner get in here, and he just thought it was dated. It's dated a bad thing, though. In this car, it could be, depending on what kind of buyer. Like I mentioned earlier, the BMW buyer is going to be looking for more tech, and it's just tech everywhere, screens just everywhere. This is more traditional in the terms of luxury, which is fitting to the demographics that would buy one of these, because $120K, my age group wouldn't be the first vehicle, but it's very nice, and I actually want one of these very badly. But going on to how nice this vehicle is, the center armrest, super plush. I haven't seen the touch point in here that's not plush. I don't like how it opens to the side, but we're going to have felt line everything on the interior of the center console. USB-A is in there and USB-C. Not only that, you can open it from the driver's side. You can also open that from the passenger side. I'm used to these just opening straight up. Another old school touch, we have this analog clock in the middle. And like the massaging seats are buried up in the menus, there's a couple other things as well. Like I wanted to sync the temperature. Normally in some vehicles you have a sync button, but in this car I had to go to the menus, go to climate, and I had to go to sync right there so we can make the driver and passenger have the same temperature. Another thing I want to talk about, something as simple as the seat belts. So these seat belts are the type that when you drive, it'll tighten up ever so snugly. And then at nighttime, the seatbelt holder is illuminated. So if you're looking for the seatbelt in the nighttime, it'll be illuminated. And then the seatbelt holder actually lowers down. That's nifty. Nice little feature. And also, when you're messing up with driving, like if you're coming outside the lane, the seatbelt will kind of like jiggle and let you know, like, hey, pay attention. So I noticed that when I was using the cruise control, and maybe it'll do it later, but we'll see. So this button, you can manually set it to raise the suspension. But when you drive the car, it'll lower the suspension. But when you park it, it'll raise up so you can get out of the vehicle easier. And one thing that I got to harp on about Lexus, I don't like how the infotainment is set up with the cluster. So what I mean by that, like setting up certain options, I expect to do everything through the infotainment screen, but they have it to where you have to do it through the cluster, which is not bad looking at all. And Lexus does a better job, especially when the infotainment screen or the cluster is as large as this. But if I want to change certain options, like my safety options, that's done through here, and you can see how small that is. And it uses acronyms only, like PKSA, what is that? LTA, I know that's like a lane keep assist, but what is that? Like, it's an acronym for many things. PCS, what is that? Like, I need that spelled out in the infotainment screen because that's kind of small. And this car does have a head-up display, which is large. I said in the F-150 Raptor video I did, I haven't seen a head-up display as large as that. Well, this is as large as that. Very wide. Is the largest. It's as wide as the F-150. It's not larger. But I can't find out where to adjust the brightness, and that's done through the cluster here. HUD is actually in the vehicle settings. where it says HUD, head-up display, another one of those acronyms, but I actually know what that means. So you can set up what displays on the screen, and I'm controlling all this with the steering wheel controls. It's easy to use, but you can choose what type of display, tachometer, a hybrid system. But I don't see where I can change the brightness. I can rotate it, but I haven't found the brightness setting in here, which kind of sucks. Like, is it only one adjustable? Is this only it? I would expect to see like a brightness setting, but I haven't found that in either of the screens. We do have a wireless charger. It is sleekly built in right there. And I cannot tell you how many times I left my phone in the car because it's kind of out the way, out of sight and out of mind. And I also want to point out that this does have a digital rear display. I'll keep it on the regular mirror just for the sake of this video. And sorry, my finger looks weird. I think I broke my index finger. I'm going to go to the doctor right after this video. Let us spin a few blocks in the 2024 Lexus LS500H. Even that sounds old school. So we can tell who's buckled up in the rear. Has the icons down there. Put my phone on the wireless charger because that thing's about dead. I got my memory seat set up. You can also control the passenger seat from the driver's side. Press this button and you can control it from over here as well. So you don't have to go through all the menus. So let me start off by putting this massage seats on. All right, now we may hit the road. And the gear shifter is different, but it's recognizably a Lexus product. So flick it to the left, down for drive, to the left and up for reverse. You have 360-degree cameras. The windows tilt to go backwards, but that's what we're about to do. So let's go. Starts off in EV mode, complete silence. Then when you get on it, the engine comes alive. And let's hit on the brakes. Stops this thing just nicely. And my seatbelt also just tightened up as well. So a few things going on. So this car does a lot of little subtle things, but it adds to the experience of the Lexus. First thing I want to do is test the turning radius. And all of the Lexus, Toyota, I think they set the bar, but my course is a little bit skewed because we got this mountain of snow over here. But all of their vehicles pass with flying colors. So I'm going to fully lock the steering wheel. I can normally make this in one pass. Good. Google it. Ooh, if we didn't have snow there, actually we can make it. There is snow. Just going to have to crush the snow. So even the vehicle this large is excellent for turning radiuses. It's easy to park. So I do that. So like if you want to park in the mall, which I happened to do yesterday, parking out, hanging out with my girls, it's easy to maneuver. So now the moon simulation, not paid for by the state of Michigan. See how supple it is. So that was very smooth. The sound deadening in here is excellent. Like I can't even hear those little rocks beating up on this $3,100 paint job. So this car will definitely isolate you from the outside. And that's what you want in a vehicle like this, just to be in your own world, your own large world. I almost said own little world, but you will be in here. And the sound system is great. I just wish it had the fidelity to go up louder. So for me, when I'm jamming, I got to turn it up to like 40 and it goes up to 60, but it just doesn't get very loud. Like, oh man, my ears hurt. It doesn't get that loud, but the clarity is there. It doesn't have the punchiest bass, but it's a very nice. If you like classical music or genres like that, it'll be excellent. It'll excel at that. And one thing I like about it is the steering wheel size. This isn't a large steering wheel. This seems smaller than the diameter of many other steering wheels on the market. So I like this smaller steering wheel. Of course, the leather is posh on here as well. So one thing about the LS that I did find, like with all this snow, salt, and ice and rain I've been experiencing, it'll make those LiDARs and radars kind of go haywire. So you might want to clean those off, know where those are before you take it for a drive, and if you plan on using those, because you might not be able to when you wanna. This massaging seat feels excellent on me. Just the materials, the presentation on here. This is what I like most about this Lexus. Physical touch buttons takes me aback. I like seeing that around here as well. I do wish it had certain menus like the massage seat. I just wish that was a press of a button, because at minimum it's like 3 button presses, if not more, maybe even 4. But this car, it drives quite all right, and I'm going to take it on the highway. We've seen what it was like driving on the worst of the worst roads, but we're going to see what it's like from a standstill, first of all, because you want to know if this has got some grunt. And I know from Car and Driver, they did 0 to 60 in about 5.5 seconds. But we're going to see. We're not going to do an official time. I just want to see what it feels like. So I'm going to rotate this dial to Sport Plus mode, and you're going to see that our screen turns red, and it gives us a little pop-up notification on the infotainment screen as well to let us know that we're about to be using this battery for some, yes, and that's beeping at me to let me know cross traffic is coming. You can turn that off as well, but we're going to stop. It's a CVT for you. Then we got the Sienna driving in both lanes. They got a big body as well. But we're going to wait and see what they do. But you see how I kind of held the revs up? That's the part of the CVT. And now we're going to see what it's like to merge onto the highway. It's got the power to do what you need to do. At 354 horsepower, it is going to be less than its competitors. Who are the competitors? The 7 Series BMWs, the S Series Mercedes, or the S-Class Mercedes, and then also the Genesis G90. I really like that car as well, and this feels closely aligned to the Genesis. That has a supercharged V6, maybe supercharged and turbocharged, but this is not on the power level of the Germans. So if you want brute force power, you can even get inline 6s in the Germans as well, or at least in the Mercedes, I believe. But this isn't going to have that type of power. It's going to be smooth delivery, and let me dial that back to normal mode, because this car it's a comfortable car. So sport is not what this is all about. High up in the revs, that takes away from, I don't want to say it takes away from the refinement, but this car is just a quiet, serene experience, and just revving it out kind of ruins that. You got the power when you need it, and the CVT, a lot of people complain about those, but my God, that shifting is butter smooth. And it has 4 ratios from what I've read on the specification sheet as well. So let me test out the cruise control. So when I drive it, it's always telling me if it's available or not. It says advanced drive ready. So I'm just going to press my set cruise control.
Advanced drive activated.
So advanced drive is, so when it turns blue, that's when you can drive without putting your hands on the steering wheel. And I drove it for about 20 minutes during the week, and it does a phenomenal job. You don't have to touch the steering wheel at all. So that's only going to be active on highways that are recognizable. On highways that are not programmed into their advanced drive feature, it's still going to hold the line, but you have to keep your hand on the steering wheel. With this, you can keep your hands off the steering wheel as long as it's blue and it notices the highway. And I did find it at one point yesterday, it kind of does go in between the lane. Not like this, but it's like the slightest. So move to a faster lane. Yes, why not? So the car is going to make a lane
change starting.
Oh, it's telling me. Oh, now it's telling me to hold the steering wheel. Okay, what you about to do? Lane change canceled. Yes, do that thing.
Left lane change starting.
Okay, not sure why it canceled beforehand, but if it's behind slower traffic, it's going to ask you permission to change the lane. That is cool. So yesterday I was just driving in the slow lane with nobody in front of me and it wanted to get over for some reason. The highway was merging, but I wasn't sure why it did that. But this feature works quite well. It's not the greatest, but it works extremely well. So I have no gripes about it.
Advanced drive ended.
And it verbally lets you know when you turn it off. So there's no confusion about that at all. So my only complaint is just kind of, it doesn't hold the line steady as I would like it to. It's kind of just the slightest inputs of bouncing back and forth. Like you can't even see my hand on the steering wheel now, doing it ever so slightly. But let's see what the handling is like. Put it back in sport mode. Because why not? Even though this car isn't built for that, it doesn't hurt. And it doesn't have the body roll that you would think it would have. How many ways you can configure these seats? Like the bolstering adjustment on here is excellent. It's so many different ways to configure these seats. And I see why they did it through a menu, because you can do the side bolstering, the lateral bolstering, the buttocks bolstering, just so much to configure. Does a good job taking these curves too. Oh crap. May I add that it hides the speed extremely well too. It's been numerous amounts of times. This car is so smooth, you don't know how fast you're going. So you're going to want to pay attention to that, because you can be doing faster than what you intend on doing, because it is just that smooth. No drama added. It doesn't feel like you're going fast. Just a smooth overall experience. And I get the appeal of these. I'm actually impressed. And this notification is letting me know that advanced drive is unavailable. Doesn't recognize that stretch of highway, but once you get on the renowned portion, it'll let you know that it is available. Go ahead and put your cruise control on. My radar is ready. It's a different configuration as the advanced cruise. Dial that back to actually, let me put it in comfort mode. I actually haven't. Oh no, I don't want eco. I guess comfort is eco mode, but normal mode is just fine. It's so cushy and plush of a ride. I enjoy it. Advanced drive is unavailable. I'm not sure why it keeps triggering on and off like that, but
Advanced drive activated.
okay, I guess it's ready to do its thing again. So, who is the LS made for? It's going to be like your executive person, somebody who loves road trips. And this is something that I was trying not to say, but it's going to be like the older demographics, because this is like an old school luxury vehicle, and it wants to make a maneuver. But I'm not going to say it, because that's going to scare the crap out of me. Actually, we should see what it does. There's another competitor that's not actually in production anymore, the Cadillac CT6. Those would be very closely competitors. Why is everybody going so slow over here? Alright, I'm gonna move over myself and see another Lexus. Resume. But I really enjoyed my time with this vehicle. So now we don't have advanced mode off. Keep your hand off the steering wheel for right now. It's telling me to hold the steering wheel. Now, does it recognize that by a touch of the steering wheel? Some vehicles you need to add torque to it.
Advanced drive ending ahead.
And other vehicles, if I just touch the steering wheel, I believe it recognizes that. So that's a good touch. And I don't have to like fakely move the steering wheel. So yeah. Oh crap, Mustang had me shook up under that bridge, downshifting under there. So now it keeps popping up with all this information like hold the steering wheel. And then when you don't hold the steering wheel when you should, it's also going to vibrate the take manual control. It's going to let you know when you need to be doing these things.
Advanced drive ended.
And it's going to end your advanced drive. So let me turn that on and off. That's how that feature works. But just to drive this car, it's going to be made for the older demographics, those who love doing road trips and just want to ride in the utmost comfort of any vehicle, having all the space and all the luxurious features of it. So this is a very nice, very nice ride. Kudos to Lexus for still building these. The full-size segment is not as popular, and then the one below this one, the GS, they axed that one in around 2020, 2021. So we go from ES to LS, and we got the IS at the lower side of the spectrum, which is tiny on the interior. This blows that just way far away in terms of size of the interior of this vehicle. So that's all I gotta say about that. Like, I do have to critique this in an unbiased nature, just because that's who I am as a person. So not that I hate the vehicle, just pointing out some things that you might like, or just to take note of. So I'm gonna leave you all with that. If you got any questions, comments, or concerns, drop it in the comment section. So you all remember to drive safe, and I will catch you all in the next video. Peace out.